Hey, what's going on, people? Knowledge here. I want to talk about a mixtape that the rapper Dee-1 was going to release, but it ultimately got banned from being released. And it was a mixtape called Separated by Birth. And basically, what he wanted to do, first, before I get into it, if you guys are not familiar with who Dee-1 is, he's a rapper from Louisiana. He speaks on, I would say, political issues, social issues. He's not a gangster rapper or even really a party type of rapper. He mostly speaks about I would say things of substance and social issues. But he basically was going to release a mixtape called Separated by Birth that was going to take a lot of the tracks that Lil Wayne has done throughout his career and basically do a flip of it. Basically, the songs that Lil Wayne has done when he's talking about, shooting up somebody or selling drugs or, having sex, typical things that Lil Wayne will rap about. Dee-1 basically is going to take those beats and basically do a positive twist on it. And I guess word got out to Lil Wayne's camp and the record label he deals with his which is Universal, and it got banned. And the record label that Dee-1 is signed to, they basically said that you need to be cautious of your well-being, meaning physical and legal issues. Now, I don't think that there was physical threats that were being thrown upon Dee-1. A lot of times, these white folks in the music industry, they feel like if there's a disagreement between two black rappers, it's going to automatically turn into violence. That's just how a lot of these people think. I'm around them every day and I know how the game goes down. But also, the record label that Dee-1 is signed to, they basically didn't want to push no buttons or press anybody on the Universal side, because for you guys that are not familiar with the music industry, Universal pretty much owns a small percentage of every major record label. It doesn't matter whether you're talking about Bad Boy, Def Jam, Epic, Atlantic, etc., etc. Any major record label out there, Universal has a small percentage in it, and the reason that is because when albums weren't being sold, Universal was still doing big numbers, still making platinum albums, and a lot of the other record labels were basically failing. They weren't bringing in the type of money that they needed to bring in to really keep the business afloat. So what happened is that Universal bought a percentage in basically every major record label to basically keep these labels up and popping as they are now. So here we are 5-10 years from that, and they basically control a lot of things that go on within other major record labels that a lot of people are not even aware of. So Universal is like, a big time record label. A lot of people don't want to step on any toes over there due to the fact that they control a lot of things and things that happen in and out of the music industry. But, they basically just told Dee-1, like, yo, we can't release this. It's basically been banned. Now, mixtapes don't usually get banned because it's a mixtape. It's not an album. It's not, high amount of, marketing dollars that went into it. It's a fucking mixtape, But when you're signed to a record label, you got to kind of play team ball. You have to, everything's not going to be your way. You have to compromise. And basically, Dee-1 was like, I kind of, not that he's quote unquote being a slave or submitting to the record label, but it's like when you're in a business deal with people outside of yourself, it's just like with any business. Everything's not going to go your way. Some things will, some things won't. You have to learn how to compromise. So ultimately, he couldn't release it. But what kind of had me bothered about it is that a lot of times when rappers are on the mainstream, or might have a little buzz independently and mainstream, when they try to come out and do positive albums or positive records, a lot of times it's thrown under the rug, or it's banned, like in this situation here. Now Lil Wayne has came out and done all kind of gangster records about sleeping with women, He pushed this whole dark skin, light skin thing a couple of years ago. He's made a lot of records that, even though they were successful, they were very destructive in a lot of ways. And I've said before, I don't have a problem with gangster music. I feel like that's a form of artistry, and everyone should have, their own capability and right to make the type of music that they want to make. But also, I've always said that we need diversity. We can't have just gangster music being promoted in the mainstream, but then when somebody wants to talk about political issues or social issues, all of a sudden it's being banned, or we don't want to put that out, or we don't want to throw that out as a single. And I think that's the real issue that we have in hip hop nowadays, is that there's no balance. And this cat's behind the scenes like myself. I can name several other cats who are in the industry, or even interns that's getting coffee for somebody right now, that want to change the game, want to make hip hop more diverse as it once was in the '90s, or the late '80s. But it's crazy how all he wanted to do was basically put a spin on what Lil Wayne was doing. He wasn't dissing him, although there was I believe there's a record he did called "Call Your Bluff," which Lil Wayne could have took that as, okay, this guy is somewhat dissing me, or he can take it as, okay, he wants to take my artistry and basically do a positive spin on it, as if there's something wrong with what I did. So I understand it too from Lil Wayne's side, but at the same time, it's a mixtape. Dee-1 has said in previous interviews that he was inspired by Lil Wayne. As he gotten older, he kind of drifted away from, because as you get older, you start to a lot of the music that's out, it doesn't really move you anymore. You start to get into other things. You want to hear the party music, but you also want to hear something of substance. That happened to me. When I was in high school, I was all about 50 Cent, the quote unquote gangster music or whatever, and I still listen to that now. But also, I want to hear some Talib Kweli every now and then. I want to hear some Chuck D. I want to hear Big Crit. I want to hear guys who are talking about things of substance, things that are more relatable to my personal life. So I get that aspect, and I just think that it's a problem when artists are not given the right to display their artistry, whether we're talking about gangster music or whether we're talking about political or social music. Everybody has a right to do their art and do their art the way they want to do it. But I hope Dee-1 some type of way gets this mixtape out, because I would like to hear it. I heard he did a record over the Stun Like My Daddy joint that Lil Wayne did. He basically was talking about his father that worked at a steel mill, and he retired after 30 some years, and he basically was giving homage to his father. Like, I'm stunned like my daddy. He don't have a Ferrari or all this money, or some big $1 million house, but he was a hard worker. He did what he had to do to provide for his family. He was a great father to Dee-1. So basically Dee-1 just wanted to show his respects to his father. He's stunned like his daddy, and I have nothing but respect for that. I can't, go after anybody that wants to pay honor to their father, their mother, but it's messed up how the game, sometimes it's just when you try to do something positive, you got people trying to shut it down, but it seems like, people just want to always and foreverly push negativity. It goes back to some of the things that some of these rappers do in the community that are positive. You don't hear about that, but you'll hear about, some rap beef or somebody getting shot up, or, the quote unquote misogynistic lyrics, or, the profanity, and, et cetera, et cetera. But they don't talk about the positive. And I think, that's an issue on all different avenues and from all different angles. But you guys give me your opinion on it, what you guys feel about them banning Dee-1's mixtape. I'll try to leave a link or article in the description box. Don't hold me to it, but I'll try. I'm out. You guys give me your feedback if you want. Subscribe, like, etc. Peace.